As hosts, we know that great episodes deserve great promotion. The biggest time saver for Superhost Down Under isn't just in recording. It's in how Riverside's magic AI suite handles all the post-production and marketing. It's essentially a production studio that does the tedious work for us. We use Magic Clips 2.0 to instantly generate perfectly vertical shorts with dynamic captions that are guaranteed to grab attention on social media. Plus, our magic audio feature gives us studio-grade sound with a single click, removing background noise and balancing our guest levels. If you're a creator looking to dramatically reduce your marketing workflow and get viral-ready clips effortlessly, you'd need this. Try Riverside for free using our special link in the show notes and get 15% off any paid plan with the code RAY15. Welcome to this week's episode of Superhost Down Under. This week, I have Liz on the show. Welcome to the show, Liz.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you,
Liz.
Ray and Silvia. Thank you. I love your show.
Thank you.
And before we get into your story, Silvia, let's do our weekly topic. What do we have?
Pets.
Okay, what about pets?
Okay, should a host allow pets? Should a host not allow pets? So I thought we could discuss our actual experiences. Mine is a city apartment and I don't allow pets, even though I love pets. But I have a close friend of mine who does allow pets, and hers is a city apartment as well. And she's had very positive experiences. She does have a fee, a one-off fee for the stay to allow a pet to come and stay, and she wants a little bit of information about the pet. So she's been very happy with allowing pets. And unless it's a long-haired pet that has shed hair. But she did have a negative experience, and I thought it was quite bizarre. So I thought it's a good story to tell. So she allowed a lady and her mother to come and stay with their pet. And she receives a text message one morning from the building manager saying that he had to clean urination off the wall. So this particular building doesn't have carpet in the hallways. So this was actually in the hallway, not in the apartment. And, was it her guest because no one else on that floor owns a pet? So she was a little bit disturbed by it all, sent the guest a message, and she didn't hear from the guest for hours. Finally, the guest did come back to her and said, "Oh, yes, when we were taking our pet out, a dog had urinated on the wall, and my dog smelt it and urinated there as well." And then she said that she went down to the car to get the wet wipes out of her car, and when she came back, someone had cleaned it already. So it was a very unfortunate situation. And when there's so much negativity about Airbnb and guests and their stays in the building, not so much in our building, but I mean just generally, it was a shame that this happened. I'm not sure what she did after that and how she dealt with it, because that's all she told me. But what are your experiences? I know, Ray, that you love places that allow pets because you often take yours.
It's actually really challenging to travel with a pet, and I have adopted a greyhound during COVID, and her name is Joni, and she has her own Instagram page. And
Greyhounds are
she's 9.
gorgeous.
She's 9 years old now, and she has the cool outfits, and she's unfortunately quite a large dog to travel with. Like, it's quite inconvenient, and so too big to fly in the cabin and too heavy for some apartments on the Gold Coast that have a 9-kilogram limit. I don't know what happens at 10 kilograms that humans don't affect, but maybe because they run and jump, but not my greyhound. It's really difficult to travel with one. And when I was moving to Queensland between lockdowns in 2021, I struggled to find temporary accommodation on the way driving up to Queensland from Melbourne. But luckily, I found an Airbnb in Coffs Harbour that allowed pets, and it's usually pet owners who allow pets because they understand the pain and therefore they have more compassion for pet owners, and also they understand what pet owners need. Like there's a dog bed in there and bowls and things like that. And yeah, it is really difficult to travel with a pet. And luckily there's a attribute you can have for having pet friendly on Airbnb to quickly filter, and usually there's not too many options. So for people out there who want more bookings and have robust furniture, like allowing pets gets you more bookings. But then the cleaning becomes a little bit more challenging. And my greyhound has only one coat instead of two, so she doesn't actually shed that much. She wears clothes during the winters, so it keeps the hair and the fur. But yeah, it is really difficult as guests. So I think it's really great when hosts allow pets. But I know that there's like pet deposits and other things like that, or you have to cover it. But always happy to pay for it, and I've always tried to do a really good job to make sure my dog doesn't do any damage or like soil the place, and I keep it as clean as I can. That's my experience as a guest. But my place, like hypocritically, I don't allow pets. But I think
City apartment.
but I think the other thing is my apartment is so small. It's a studio and it's got laminate flooring. So it doesn't have it, and the furniture is not durable. Like it would just like, even for humans, it's not very durable. And there's not that much room for an animal to move. And since it's so small that it sleeps up to two people, like with an animal in there, you are just stepping over each other. But I think if I had a larger space, I would make sure it's more industrial, that I would allow pets, that would make it easier to clean and things like that. I didn't choose those things when I was designing my style. I would love to in a future class. What are your thoughts, Liz?
Well, we have a dog, so I love
Cute.
pets, and it being a farmhouse, and it's with durable furniture, we allow pets. It's normally dogs. I always find out what type of dog in case because we've got cows everywhere and a few koalas and other critters. They chase them, so if they go missing, they probably won't get found again because it's paddocks everywhere, and also, I do check that that they're house trained, treated for fleas and ticks. We once had a cat that stayed, or friend actually, and it left fleas. So I learned from that, and also that they have current vaccinations. We provide a sliding doggy door so guests can divide and ask that the guests please keep their dog in one half of the house so it's away from the bedrooms. Not that they do that often, but at least it gives me something to talk about if the cleaner has to vacuum twice over. And also depending on the type of pet, we charge an extra $90 or $120 cleaning fee because it is a big house. And if you've got a shaggy hair pet, it takes a lot longer.
Yeah. I think
But yeah, I find it hard traveling with a doggy too, and we've got a little one. So.
And have you had many major issues?
No, not really. But we say
Right.
no to people as well. Like one lady wanted to bring 3 cats. And I don't know how she travels with 3 cats, but that was a no for the bird life because and I don't know how you keep them inside really. So, yeah.
Have you found, Liz, that someone has come to stay and not disclosed that they've got a pet? Because again, I know of a recent situation where the guest came to stay and didn't mention that there was a pet. And then it was obvious to the host. And so she said, "Did you have a dog here?" And he said, "Yes, dog. It says it's pet friendly." But he didn't know, or said he didn't know, that you actually, like when you put the number of guests, the number of children,
Yeah, they
that you need to put the number of pets. And he hadn't done that.
He might have
So
been
have you ever had,
B. No, we
he might
haven't.
have been,
We did have one that told us before. It was before they came, but after they'd booked. So it didn't matter. But it's not really been a problem.
That's so
And pet
good.
owners are always so nice to deal with.
Good point.
Excellent. Okay. Well, let's get into your story. And you mentioned briefly that you have a farmhouse.
We do have a farmhouse.
Yeah. So you tell us your origin story. Like, how did this get started? What were you doing before your Airbnb, and how did you transition into becoming an Airbnb host?
Well, we had the farmhouse, fixed it up, and rented it out for a little while. Then we really needed to be there, and we were renting out Airbnbs in order to go to the farm, and realized that was a bit crazy. We had a nightmare tenant as well, so we ended up
Yeah.
and also a lot of spare furniture that we couldn't fit in our other house. So we used that and set it up, and it's worked really well. We get to stay there about 1 week every couple of months, so we're very grateful for that. And we get all the benefits of meeting all these really nice people. I do like for that reason alone.
Tell us where this farmhouse is.
It's in a tiny village called Wairala, and which is near Lismore and Ballina, so not that far from Byron, but a really different market, of course. So we get a lot of working teams and families on holidays. We have a pool, and it is really relaxing, and so. And the Northern Rivers has got a lot of festivals and things like that on as well, so it's been pretty successful.
I used to live in South
But not like a city
Queensland.
apartment. So where did you live, sorry?
I
The
lived on the
opposite.
Gold Coast, on the other side of the border near Tugan.
Yeah,
So not too
it's
far
not that
from
far.
northern New South Wales. Yes.
Mm.
What inspired you to buy a farmhouse while you were like a
Well,
decorating editor for a
oh
magazine?
no, it was after that. So
Okay.
that was a few years ago. And we were just looking for an investment property, and it started in Byron. This was a long time ago. And then couldn't afford it. And I'm glad we couldn't in a way. But so it just was there. And also it had two houses, so it worked investment wise. We had to do a lot of work to one, but it was and also acres that we have adjusted out to cattle owners.
And what was the question you had, Sylvia? Sorry.
It does have 4 bedrooms
It does.
and it's got a pool. Did you have to renovate it to make it ready as an Airbnb? Did you have the pool put in, or was it already there? And I can, like with mine, because it's a city apartment, I have people coming and they spend very little time in the apartment. Because I'm, between the Opera House and Bondi Beach, they're out all the time because they've come to see Sydney. But I can imagine with yours, you've got games, because I had a look at your website and on Airbnb, you've got a games room, you've got a pool, all of that. I'm just curious to know, did you set that all up? With the intention that it was, because it was going to become an Airbnb. And do you find that, you get families and groups that hang out there because you offer everything at home? It must be a wonderful place to just stay and chill with the pool and everything.
It is relaxing, and the pool was there. It's a saltwater pool, which helps, but we had plenty of space. So the futsal table I found on Marketplace. Lots of things came from Marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, there's room to move there. So I think that's what people love the most, is just space, because they're often used to city apartments or small rooms and being crammed in, I guess. So
Do
that's
you
our
get mainly
selling point.
families and
Families and
groups?
workers and groups
Yeah.
of workers.
Mm.
And
But
what made you do the transition from your full-time work to Airbnb? Was there a particular moment that made you
oh
leave
no,
your
it's just
work and
as time went on, we realised that it worked and it was enjoyable, and And I also like renovating furniture and looking on Marketplace and finding different things for the Airbnb. And dealing with guests is fun too. And there's always lots of things happening in that area, festivals, so things like that. So you get to talk to people about wildly different topics.
And did you draw inspiration from your decorating career, like from your work in the magazine decorating space?
I did. And you know what matters most is styling for photography. Photography is
Yes.
so important. And to Airbnb land, because I'm setting up another website, I looked at the real estate photos for this place and realized how bad they were. And it really would help if real estate even took tips from Airbnb by including more storytelling and more emotion, because just flowers and a tablecloth make such a radical difference that I'm not sure why they don't do that. But yes, you need good lighting. And I really recommend professional photography because iPhones just don't do it. We had iPhone photos for a while and they were terrible. Made a difference when we finally got proper photos.
Absolutely. And I think Airbnb even offered me professional photos for free. Like
Wow.
I don't remember what I did. I wasn't even a Superhost. I think they
Yep.
were promoting either the area or I won the lottery. But they sent a photographer
That's
to the property.
wonderful.
Yeah, and took some photos. And I was using the photos from the listing after we bought the place. But those photos were not that new. And also we did some renovations. And like you said, we furnished it. And so we styled it. And then Airbnb said, we'd like to promote your property. So we'll send you a free
That's
photographer.
amazing.
I was like, oh, that's so great. Yeah. And I definitely understand the value of good lighting and a good photographer because I look very different in different in different
Doesn't it make a
lights
massive
and
difference?
angles. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't recognize myself. And so tell us about what your first year was like running Airbnb in a
It was
more,
all a big
yeah.
learning curve, and things like instant book and all of those things. If you click the wrong button, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble very quickly.
Yeah.
And instant booking, I would didn't go near that one, fortunately. But even things like firm cancellations versus or
Or
whatever the other
flexible.
ones.
Yeah. Super
Be-
flexible or flexible one is.
Yeah,
Medium, moderate.
I think you can do that in the city or apartments where you have a lot of bookings coming and going. But on a farm, we have to organise cleaners or get up there. So it's a bit of a challenge. So we've pretty much done strict or firm for certainly for long term ones, less for short term. But what are other things that make a big difference? I don't know. There's just a lot of buttons you have to be very careful
So
with.
many settings. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
they really
smart
are.
pricing, instant book, and then like shared or entire homes or just room, and then yeah, all the
Yeah,
fees that you're
there's a
gonna
lot of
charge and
decisions.
discounts. Yeah, I think so. I think tweaking it, like you can have your calendar open way too long, and then you have a
You
booking
can.
11 months from now, and then you're like, oh, I haven't set the price, and they've already booked. And so I think there's a
I have bookings a year and a half in advance. So I'm getting bookings now for 2027, and it shocks me because I
That's
couldn't,
amazing.
I prefer to, personally, when I travel, I prefer to book closer to the date, like a month in advance. But
Mhm.
it amazes me that people book a year and a half in advance. But when times are tough, which it has been a little bit in Sydney in winter, this winter, I have bookings in advance, and most of those will still stay. Some will
Mhm.
cancel because unpredictable things happen. So I
They
don't
do.
have a problem taking bookings well in advance. And so because I'm working in advance, I also do set my pricing well in advance.
Yes, well, you have, yeah, exactly, and you have to price in, well, I do price in inflation and like things that are happening, and so I don't think I have that far in advance, maybe 3 months, just to know how the market is, because it also depends on, like for example, if there's a concert or there's like a large event, then all of a sudden like the rates have gone up, but someone's reserved it, and before I had flexible, so then someone booked, I think 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then a day or two before they released it, and then how am I going to fill 3 weeks in, like, starting in 2 days? So since then I've been more firm. I think you and I, Sylvia, have such different approaches to it, but like I also
Well,
don't live
they're
in mine. Yeah,
different markets
different
too.
markets for sure, different product, different service. Like
I
I'm not
did
there to
try Price Labs for a while and it just didn't
Mm.
work at all. They didn't take into account, actually, I tried Airbnb and VRBO dynamic pricing. They didn't work at
yeah,
all because they didn't factor in the holidays. And
yeah.
I think they just wanted more bookings,
Mhm.
and which is fair enough. And then I tried Price Labs, and they were drawing data from Byron Bay, which is such a radically different market that
Yeah.
it didn't work. They had great account service, but they couldn't help in the end. So
That's really
I
good to know. I think I had similar experience. We moved back to manual pricing. I think our
yes.
manual pricing has been very much it's actually a premium to book in advance because you get all the dates that you
Mm.
want, and then as it gets shorter we discount because we're filling the rest. It's kind of like when you're buying clothes, like all the leftover sizes go on sale, which is never my size. That's really but that's kind of how, like, I sell the remaining days. That could be like a Tuesday or like a Wednesday by itself, and
That's how
then
Price Labs does it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, and also I get to save the money, and like ever since I've been multi-platform, moving to direct booking on my website and with my co-host listed there too, and on VRBO, booking.com, and all the other ones, like it's that's been more impactful to get more channels, like customers from different platforms, rather than just trying to adjust pricing on one platform for me. But I think I'm
What
still
other
learning.
platforms? What other platforms? Do you mean Booking.com or VRBO or?
So I have a direct link, so you can go to raymondyi.com.au.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah.
We are also connected. I think we're using Guesty, which allows you to connect all your calendars together. So it's Airbnb, the direct one, lanestay.com.au, which is my co-host. VRBO stays, booking.com, and Airbnb. Those are like the ones. Those are the other.
You've never had a problem with Booking.com because I've always been a bit worried
I
about.
have. But I have, but the pros outweigh the cons. Like I think the service from Airbnb has been superior, especially as a superhost. I've I'm not the only one who's had some challenges with customer support, and like I think I think at one point one of my friends had a double booking, like it accepted bookings. But I'm in early stages. I may tweak it to which platforms that we're going to book through. Ideally, more direct, because I would love my recurring guests to book direct, and they can still pay with credit card, and it all like aggregates into one central reporting tool. So I'm still doing that.
Well, it's good in the sense that you own the product, whereas Airbnb kind of owns your listing when you work through them, because if they decide you're bad for some reason, they'll
Yeah.
just change the algorithm and you've gone.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's interesting.
this podcast is like one of the great benefits of like Sylvia and I always share the links to our properties in the show notes. So if anyone wants to stay at our place, they can find it. And then it's called,
And yours too now, Liz.
and yours too.
Thank you.
Your listing will be in this episode. So when you share it, like people can see it on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio,
Wow,
Spotify.
that's fantastic.
This one of the reasons I wanted this podcast was to share the experiences of interesting hosts of Airbnb around Australia and leverage some of the technical skills I gained in my career prior to doing this and keep the costs low. So like that's why we have sponsors, and that's why we like bring guests on. But that's I'm still learning a lot through it. On the technology side, good segue. What technology, if any, do you use to help you monitor the property, manage the property? Do you have, tell us what system you
We
have in
keep it
place.
to the minimum, really. It's I looked at all the different things on offer, but because it's only one, and it's a pretty straightforward booking. I just have a website, a little website which I originally made because the local tourism website wouldn't accept an Airbnb listing, and so I just made a Wix website. which is great fun to do. But and it's also very DIY if people are tempted. People can even get a free one, and I think it's only really small ads, but I think I pay about $17 a month to get the domain name as well, which is good to put on a business card. I'm going to print some business cards, and it's hard to put an Airbnb listing link on or
Exactly.
VRBO, so much better like that. And
Yeah.
also you can put a lot more added value, a lot more photos, a lot more links to birding sites and all sorts of things. And other added values, what else? Local maps. And also visually it's more appealing. The Airbnb manual doesn't actually even let you do many things. And if I've set it up so I just link into most of the tourism sites in the area. So it just seems to work better. And I send it to people when they book. I ring them or text them the details. So, and I also get to check the number that way as well, because we sometimes get bookings from businesses that they're not staying there. So you don't know if anyone turns up if the video camera's not working outside.
Exactly.
So there's a whole lot of reasons to check the number as well. That's another thing.
So your property is listed on Google Maps as a place for short-term rental, or what did you say?
I think it might be now, but I don't know if I actually put that in. It
Oh,
could be.
interesting. I've never thought about that because I always think about them as services or businesses, but not short-term rentals. It's something I will look into because then it's on Google when you're checking for a property and you can collect reviews on it for free. So that's something I will look into.
Yeah,
And
you often see it.
really,
Another
I haven't seen it
Airbnb
before.
around here, they
Okay.
do.
I learned something new today.
But it's
And
also Airbnb in like traditional bed and breakfasts here as well. We're on Lake
they list
Macquarie
on Google
this
Maps.
house.
Yeah,
So,
interesting. That makes a lot of sense. This is why this podcast has helped me also like meet a lot of cool guests. And you are growing your portfolio. You're in the process of setting up another property. Is that right?
Yes, it's just because this is a huge house, we don't use it all. And also, if we're going to be at the farm for 6 months, it's silly to have a house here, which is fairly close to Sydney. So we probably will attract Sydney families, and also thinking about the people with trailer sailors and boats that can't. In this area, there are a lot of Airbnbs and they're often waterfront, but you can't park because there's no street parking. So that's one thing we've got that's a bit unique that we can
This is
offer.
the one near Newcastle?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm just starting that now and developing a bit of an identity and thinking about styling a little bit. And but yeah, it's just researching the market's interesting. You can use AirDNA. There's some neat apps out there for that sort of thing.
Yeah, to get some research on before you go in on specific regions and their rates and things like that. Yeah,
it's really interesting, if nothing else.
I hadn't even heard of that, AirDNA.
Yeah, I use it to check out areas. So give us, I'm curious, like because you have all this experience with styling, like what is your process when you're designing a space? Like, do you have a mood board? Do you like, how do you go from just
look, it's simpler than that. Our Airbnb is not that sort of Airbnb, so it's really what I have available.
Okay.
And I tend to with the farmhouse, it was obvious too, like cotton tablecloths, checkered, blue and white, yellow accents, things like that. Kind of easy to. And I also I had to get solid, good furniture. Went for timber furniture, but painted it white. You know how pine furniture gets that horrible yellow look, and that blended everything together. So actually looks much better in the photos. A lot of white. I know everyone knows that, but white and timber and fabrics really help. But it's definitely low budget. We didn't go high end at all, but it seems to work and people like it. So that's the main thing.
I had months of Pinterest boards, and I was sitting there with color palettes.
I used to do that sort of thing.
My little yeah, I forgot what it's called, but you have like the textures and the materials and the colors as like a guide, and you can see it on a board, and then if that feels right, then that becomes your legend of things you add to your home. It's like if
It
it all
does.
fits the
Well, now
inspiration.
you can just take a photo of it, and it's
Get
really
AI to
annoying
do it.
sometimes. Get AI to do it, and it comes up pretty well. And then go search for the
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 items.
items that AI just comes
Mm.
up with. But
Yeah. It's not as
it's
much
almost
fun as
too good.
hunting it for, though.
No, it isn't. Yeah, there's lots of great things around to make boards.
And talking about building things and finding product, you wanted a decent letterbox, and tell us the story.
In those days, there weren't many good ones around. Now there's a lot of letterboxes, and the only niche I could find was arty letterboxes. So I develop a website and a marketing strategy and all of that sort of thing. But now I've got to actually make the letterboxes. But I think what will happen is I've made a few and I'm not super happy with them. But
Okay.
I am still working on it, and there's to make a kit form. But as well as that, I just wanted a place for artists and sculptors to a place and a reason to sell their art, because it's
Mm.
so hard for artists now that I was thinking I've got a basic metal letterbox that is a good size that artists can paint,
Mm-hmm.
and also timber ones. But really, a sculptor can do amazing things with letterboxes. That
Mm-hmm.
and we needed one at the farm. It made a big difference. Our driveway is nowhere near the street address. So
Mm.
I actually send people a photo of the letterbox and say, look for the cow letterbox, turn right. And they would get lost otherwise and end up in the,
Mm.
I think. So it's a really good signpost as well. But, and it's just a way to be original when there are not many ways you can. It's easy upgrade, really.
Mm. So, tips for others, like what are some non-negotiables, or one non-negotiable for every farmhouse Airbnb
Well,
that they should have?
for us, it would be generous pantry. We have a lot of extra things. Well, just a generous attitude, really, like printer paper and lots of towels, and of course,
Mhm.
lots of toilet paper. But just
Why? Why
always lots
lots
of
of toilet
toilet
paper?
paper, because you can't. Well, actually, the shops are only 10 minutes away, so it's not
Right,
that
but you
bad.
don't want to
But
be stuck, and you don't want to
no,
have to go
no.
get any. Yeah.
But biscuits and treats and just more things than you would normally provide. And I've been to plenty of Airbnbs that are well over $200 a night, and they give you 2 coffee pots and maybe
Oh
3 tea
yeah.
bags. And it's
Yeah.
just so mean that you don't need to be like
Mm.
that.
It doesn't feel good, and it doesn't cost
No,
much to
it
provide a little
doesn't
bit more.
feel generous or
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yeah.
Welcoming in.
I think that one of the things, one of my friends, good friends who runs a wedding venue on the Gold Coast, says at her Airbnb, people even steal the salt shakers.
I've had
They're
that
like,
happen.
Oh,
I got
it's
really
annoying.
nice salt
what are they
shakers.
doing with the salt shaker? It doesn't fall
Yeah,
into your bag by accident. I've had someone steal my Dyson like head, the power head. Like, what happened to yours?
yes.
Why did you take mine? Then I had to find a replacement head for it. But I was surprised. Like, it wasn't misplaced, because my place is really minimalist. Like, so, and it doesn't happen accidentally. You have to consciously rip this off my.
Maybe they broke it. Maybe they
I
broke
could
it.
have
That's
broken
another
it, yeah.
thing that
What were
happens.
you doing with my vacuum that like broke the vacuum head?
Don't
It's
ask.
crazy. I have someone steal, like, I had a locked cabinet, or not a cabinet, but a cabinet with some little baskets that I put super high up with some of my personal belongings, because I just didn't want to put it in storage because it's
Sure.
dirty. I had my sneakers, and someone stole my sneakers, and I thought, why do you want my used sneakers, and what are you doing with them? But it's interesting,
Did you
like this.
ask them about it?
Well, I didn't know who took it, because
Yeah, that's
I
happened to
don't
me.
check the basket on
No.
everything, but I left some items, nothing too valuable, in the unit, just because I didn't want to put it all into storage when setting up the Airbnb. But I'm just amazed that anything that I would leave is at risk of being taken. And I guess that's my advice is like, you really, whatever you leave in your unit, you have to be comfortable with it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
you
think
do.
it's the same, like someone stole a paring knife from my block of knives, and I'm like, it was a set, and now it doesn't look the same. So maybe I shouldn't have had like a set. Maybe I should have had different knives and stuff like that. What other advice do you have besides for people getting started? And you mentioned the DNA,
Yes,
the air DNA, to do research.
I
What
think.
other things did you check?
Oh, really? It was really just research on who was likely to stay, and also forming an identity, having a bit of a business plan, and like with a target market, what the competition's like, and really focusing on that, because that helps you do everything. Like, I didn't think of really boaties being this place being a boaty thing, but just looking around, and everyone's talking waterfront and views, but not many people have parking. So that's a big plus here, because we can offer that. We've got plenty of space, and I think that's where we'll go. Plus, nautical themes are always nice to look at, so they'll look great in the photos. And that's where that's just a start, because once you've got a definition, you can work around it. If you have nothing, everything looks the same, and there are so many Airbnbs that look so similar that it's just nothing stops you when you're scrolling. So I think it really is worth having interesting things. When I was doing research for this place, there was one, a home just down the road, but they had great styling, yes, but they had really interesting things for kids and a trampoline. I don't think anyone lives there full time or anything, or part time, but they had a lot of really unusual stuff that it kind of pulls your eye in, and their reviews were so much better. And I think that having quirky things, like there was a funny bookcase for kids and little cubby houses, and they did it really well, but I think that helped a lot, just to have that definition and focus.
And for
And
people, you go, Sylvia.
well, I can imagine that, you mentioned, Liz, that having cars, somewhere to park the car is important. I imagine that the guests who are going to your farmhouse or fishing point near Newcastle, where you're setting up your next one, would arrive by car. It wouldn't be practical to
Always.
arrive by public. So I don't know how the Airbnbs that aren't providing somewhere to park are managing.
Oh, no, they have
Unlike
parking, but
mine.
they don't have a lot of parking. They don't have
Right. I
parking.
see.
And if you've got a big house, you kind of need extra parking, because you expect at least
Yes.
2 or 3 cars.
Yes.
Well, Liz, those are all my questions for you.
Can I
Thank
give
you
you my
so much.
cleaning tips? I did have some
Yeah,
things that
Yes.
really
Please
help,
do.
please.
because it's such a big house that the cleaning is really expensive, and just
Yeah,
because it takes a long time. I found great cleaners, and they're really reliable and responsible. But hang on, I wrote a list.
let's go.
Where is it? Where is it? Here is it. Oh, just silly things, even like, one thing is I used to have a checklist, which was so long in the end that it actually scared potential cleaners away. So I have no longer have that, and I have just hidden pages on a website. The website that I give people a password, not people, cleaners, a password to, so they can see visually what I want and where things are, and how to set things up, just like a towels arrangement and things like that. And sliders on heavy furniture, so it makes it much easier to move back
Very
behind.
clean. Yeah.
I ask guests to use oven bags where possible. And Rodney the robot vacuum cleaner is the best thing
Yeah.
on earth. He goes underneath the beds, doesn't complain ever, and it actually does quite a good job. I put a note in the barbecue that gives cleaning tips, and also lets guests know that there's a small fee if they leave it dirty, because it's a big barbecue, takes a long time to clean, and it's really made a difference.
Can you
We
make sure you
always,
don't use the wire brush for the barbecue? There's a lot of people who have ingested the wire that comes off the wire brush.
yes, no, I just put paper there. Yeah, I read that. I did a bit of research on that too. And it's a
Yeah,
bit scary, actually.
it is very
Um,
scary. That's why they
yeah.
make good like barbecue wipes.
Mm.
Mm,
I always have 3 sets of sheets and doonas covers
right.
because just for washing, and there's so many sheets that we have to get through. And if it's a bad day for drying things, it gets harder. Sheet colours are the same for different size beds, so it's easy to identify what's what. And
That's a good one.
towels are all the same colour and not too big and bulky to wash because there's a lot of them
Yeah,
when you've got a lot of 4 bedrooms.
yeah,
But just little things like that make a difference.
yeah.
And that's why I
That's
like your show, because you get lots
oh,
of tips.
that's really kind. Thank you so much for coming on our show. I really appreciate
Thank you, and nice to meet you in person.
it. Yes. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, Liz.
See you later. Bye.
Um,